Alright guys, Tom here, and welcome to my Raw review for April the 1st, 2013 Raw episode. And to be honest, it was a really awful show, very disappointing show. I thought it was going to be absolutely epic. I said it in my Raw preview show that this show was going to be pretty epic because it was the last Raw before WrestleMania 29 on Monday. We're now 5 days away from WrestleMania 29, and to be honest, it was really disappointing except for the ending. I think if the ending never happened, I honestly think it was probably the worst Raw I've ever watched. It was absolutely awful. This one, or the Christmas episode on Christmas, either that one or this one is the worst Raw I've ever watched live, even including the ending. I honestly thought this was a really bad show. It was just bad all the way through, except at the last 5 minutes, honestly. So we started off with John Cena in the ring, basically just bragging about how he thinks he's going to win, how he's better than The Rock. The crowd was really booing Cena, which is very surprising because Michael Cole was like, mixed reaction for Cena tonight. Nobody was cheering him, which is kind of surprising. I don't like the fact that he's now come over as a heel, even though they don't really want him to become a heel. So it's rumoured at WrestleMania 29 he is going to turn fully heel, which, to be honest, I'm doubting, to be honest, because he is known as the face of the WWE. Not as a face as in a good guy, literally the face of the WWE. If you think of WWE, you think of Cena. So it'll be strange to have somebody who's the face of WWE being a heel, to be honest. But anyway, we start off with John Cena. It was just John Cena in the ring talking about how he was going to win. He said, Rock politicians and Cena-crats or something. It was absolutely awful. The crowd was going, Cena sucks. The segment was really boring. Everybody shouted. The crowd would go, boring. It was really bad. So for that, I'm going to go with for that segment, I'm going to rate that segment a 4 out of 10. It was absolutely awful. Didn't do anything for me whatsoever. I would much prefer if The Rock and Cena were both in the ring at the same time, instead of both of them coming out on the road and then talking in the middle of Monday Night Raw. So for that segment, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10. Then, the first match of the night, we had Heath Slater, Jinder Mahal, and Drew McIntyre, the 3MB, facing Randy Orton, Big Show, and Sheamus. So it literally does look now like the Randy Orton, Big Show, and Sheamus team are actually doing pretty well, and they're actually as a unit, and they're actually looking out for each other. And I think this is going to be a pretty good match for WrestleMania 29 between Randy Orton, Big Show, and Sheamus, going 3-on-3 with the Shield. I think this is going to be probably one of the surprising matches, which is actually pretty good. But you know, with Sheamus and Randy Orton, they're always going to win. The crowd just gets upset if they don't win. So it was so predictable, this match. The match finished off with, I think Big Show got one of them in a choke slam and then shoved it to Randy Orton, and he gave him an RKO, and then Sheamus gave a bro kick, and then Big Show gave a knockout punch, and oh sorry god, that was bad. Yeah, obviously Randy Orton, Big Show, and Sheamus are going to win because they need a push going into WrestleMania 29. Watch out for my prediction videos for all the matches at WrestleMania 29. There's going to be about 10, so expect a lot to be flooding through your sub box. But Randy Orton, Big Show, and Sheamus did, of course, win. It was an okay match. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. I did kind of like the ending, even though it was quite predictable with all their finishes, because I think every match they've been in together, they've all finished off with their finishes. So for that match, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. So the next match I think we got was Daniel Bryan and Dolph Ziggler. This match is really good. It was absolutely awesome. These guys are, like, to be honest, I think they're both the top guys in the WWE, like the most technical. Daniel Bryan, Dolph Ziggler, CM Punk possibly are probably the best wrestlers, core wrestlers which you have in the WWE. Possibly the guys in the Shield, they're pretty good as well. So they put on a really good match, Daniel Bryan and Dolph Ziggler. I'm going to give this match a 9 out of 10. The ending was really dodgy. I honestly don't think the match was supposed to end like this. So it'll be interesting to, if somebody inside the WWE actually told me what was supposed to happen, because the referee, I'll tell you what happened before. AJ started skipping around Kane. He got distracted, so he looked at AJ, and Big E Langston basically slapped him and took Kane out. So Daniel Bryan got distracted, kicked Big E Langston in the head. So then pretty much Dolph Ziggler just could have come behind him and give him a roll-up pin. But it was actually a 2 count, and the referee counted it as a 3 count. Daniel Bryan had already kicked out, but the referee was counting to a 3, so he rang the bell. Dolph Ziggler kind of looked like, what the fuck, that wasn't supposed to happen. I got that impression. I'm not sure if a lot of people picked up on that, because I searched Twitter at the time, and not a lot of people were like, was that supposed to happen? Not a lot of people said that. Some people did. So I'm not really sure if that was supposed to happen or not. I don't think it was, because it looked like a 2 count to me. I'll be interested to see what actually happened there. maybe the match didn't really end, wasn't supposed to end. But then after the match, Big E Langston gets in the ring, runs over to Daniel Bryan, and Big E hits his finisher on Bryan. Ziggler then gets in Bryan's face, but here comes Kane with a right hand to literally everybody. Then Kane grabs Big E Langston by the throat, but Big E Langston managed to break out of the grip. Ziggler and Big E pose with the tag team titles because AJ brought them in the ring. It was quite original. It was pretty cool. Did work for me, so I'm going to give that a 9 out of 10, that match. It was pretty good, and they put on a very good match. Then, after the break, we got HBK, Shawn Michaels, Mr. WrestleMania, coming out, and he had a microphone in his hand, of course. He can't wrestle anymore because since Undertaker won him at WrestleMania 27, I think it was. Yeah, it was 27. Basically, HBK can't wrestle anymore in the WWE because it was if HBK lost, he won't be able to wrestle ever again in the WWE, like I've already said. So HBK said that he doesn't think it's a very good idea for Triple H to step in this ring because he thinks Brock Lesnar's an absolute animal and is not to mess with. Triple H came out in the middle of when Shawn Michaels was talking. I thought something suspicious might happen where they may even have a face down or something, like, even though they're best friends, but basically, Triple H was like, I know what I'm doing, I've got to do this. And then HBK was like, I'm not going to stop you doing this, I want you to kick his ass. So I thought it was pretty cool. So, but the thing I don't like about HBK is they think every time Triple H is in a match, HBK always has to come out, and I think, why do they hang around together? I mean, I'd like to just see Triple H on his own, to be honest, but HBK says that he's going to be in the corner of Triple H now, and HBK is going to be out there at the ring, I suppose, so that's going to be interesting to see what happens there. HBK will be at WrestleMania, and will be this side of Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar did come out, and Paul Heyman basically announced that Brock Lesnar is just going to absolutely dominate. He's going to be an absolute beast, basically building up the match. Not great, didn't really do a lot for me. For that segment, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. Wasn't very productive, except the part that HBK said he was going to come out, but I don't really think that's going to really change anything in the match. Just the fact that Shawn Michaels is there, really. The next match was Wade Barrett versus Zack Ryder. And of course, Wade Barrett needs a push going into WrestleMania 29. As to be honest, his win streak this year hasn't been very good. I think the only decent match he had was again in the Fatal 4-Way for his Intercontinental Championship, where Wade Barrett was obviously going to win. I think Jericho was in that match, The Miz, and it was Antonio Cesaro. So Wade Barrett managed to win that one, but Wade Barrett this week won versus Zack Ryder, a squash match. I don't like how they use Zack Ryder. He's not really a big talent. He basically just does charity work nowadays, but to be honest, I don't really like how they use him. He's completely useless. But Miz was at the side basically talking trash about Wade Barrett. Wade Barrett really needs to lose his title at WrestleMania 29. He's not a good champion at all. I thought he'd be really good, but he's been absolutely awful. But he gave him Zack Ryder the Barrett barrage and won the match pretty cleanly, really. The Miz just had a stare down with him, and it kind of looks like this match is going to be on the pre-show now. I'm going to do a video for the prediction for this match, but I don't like how they've put Wade Barrett and Miz in a pre-show match, and they've put the Funkadactyls, Ice-T, oh god, I keep doing that, Sweet Tea and Brodus Clay versus the Bella Twins and Rhodes Scholars in normal match. That sounds more like a pre-show match than Wade Barrett versus The Miz. So Wade Barrett wins, he needs a push, very predictable. Most matches tonight were very predictable. The next match was Santino Marella versus Mark Henry. Yes, Santino Marella finally came back. He tweeted before this that he was finally coming back, and basically Mark Henry won with the world's strongest slam. So very boring, not interesting whatsoever. For the Wade Barrett and Zack Ryder match, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10, and for the Marella versus Mark Henry match, I'm going to give that a 3 out of 10. The next match was Zeb Coulter versus Alberto Del Rio, and basically what happened here is Zeb Coulter and Jack Swagger started beating up Alberto Del Rio with the crutches of Ricardo Rodriguez. As Ricardo Rodriguez decided to come down to the ring, they nicked his crutches and just started whacking Alberto Del Rio on the back. I thought this storyline was going to be absolutely epic when they first brought it around, but it's just gone downhill since. This segment didn't really do a lot for me. It was kind of strange. The crowd was absolutely awful. I don't think they really helped. For this segment, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. Really did do a lot for me. I said when I was doing a few videos earlier in the month, I said that this match was possibly could be one of the best matches at WrestleMania 29. It could steal the show. But honestly, I'm not thinking that at the moment. Alberto Del Rio versus Jack Swagger could honestly be a really bad match. I don't think they've really built it very well at all for the past few weeks. So I was very disappointed in that. It didn't really do a lot for me. The next thing that happened was The Rock came out and made a promo about who was doing it for the people. He was only here for the people. He always seems to talk about when he was younger, which is really annoying, and I don't really get why people find The Rock funny. It's maybe because I'm not American, but honestly, I don't find him electrifying whatsoever. It's really annoying how he's a face and everybody loves him. I just hate him. I don't find him funny whatsoever. So for that, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. It didn't do anything whatsoever. I think pretty much the only reason why they got The Rock on there was to sell some more WrestleManias on this week's Raw. So the next match was Chris Jericho versus Antonio Cesaro. And Chris Jericho managed to win with the walls, as Michael Cole says. He's got the walls locked in. So he won with the walls, but in the middle of the match, Fandango came out, and Michael Cole was like, oh, speaking of the devil, because we were talking about him, but he came out through this, like, this stage that they've just put up, as if Michael Cole hadn't noticed that they've been putting it up for the last 5 minutes. So he came out and he started racing Chris Jericho. Fandango was racing Chris Jericho on his moves, so if he did like a lion saw, he'd give him like a 2 out of 10, I think it was. And I thought it was a pretty original segment. I quite liked it. The match itself was okay. I think I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. It was not bad. It was quite original. But as soon as the match ended and Chris Jericho won, Fandango was finally out, and he started beating up Chris Jericho, jumped off the top rope with his knee onto Chris Jericho's head when Chris Jericho was on the floor twice. Pretty good. I'm excited about this match. It could be good. So for this segment, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. The next match was Cameron and Naomi versus the Bella Twins. So a tag team divas match. Great. So this match was very weird, not interesting whatsoever. As usual, divas matches usually end with a roll-up pin. So did this one. Nikki reverses the pin for the win and gets the 1-2-3 win. The Bella Twins win, get a push into WrestleMania 29. It was an okay match. I might give it a 7 out of 10. It was pretty entertaining, but doesn't really do a lot. This match isn't going to be that great at WrestleMania 29. Should be on the pre-show. Feel sorry for The Miz and Wade Barrett. The next one was The Undertaker eviscerated CM Punk, and this was absolutely epic. Taker said that Punk's historic title reign of 434 days was epic, but the pain coming to me at WrestleMania will last an eternity. So it was absolutely awesome segment. This is the only bit which is actually decent about Raw. It's a bit more decent. It was actually awesome. So basically, I keep saying basically, Undertaker's music came on, it went dong, and all them druids came out with fire, so they made like a kind of like ramp like they normally do. And then Paul Bearer comes out. Oh, sorry, Paul Heyman comes out with all white stuff on his face, looking exactly like Paul Bearer, and he does that famous laugh. Oh, and Undertaker's like, what the fuck? So he comes right up to his face, and then CM Punk, guess what, is hiding as a druid, starts beating up Undertaker, hits him with the urn, and then hits him again. He's on the floor, and then guess what happens? He opens the urn and tips the sand, not ashes, it would look like sand to me, tips the ashes all over Undertaker and starts playing with it. So this is absolutely epic. I mean, some people were like literally really ashamed that CM Punk had done this on Twitter. I thought it was absolutely awesome. This match is going to be so good. I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10. One of the best segments I've ever seen. Makes me so excited for this match. Can't wait for it. Hopefully you've enjoyed this Raw. I'm going to give this Raw a 6 out of 10. If it wasn't for that segment at the end, I would give it a 4 out of 10. It was awful apart from that. At times, I felt like I wasn't even watching it. I was distracted on the computer. So apart from that, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, guys. Thanks for watching. And watch out for my WrestleMania 29 prediction videos all through the week. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.